Got myself a toy guitar that was in the shop. It was £15, and I was just looking at it, trying to tune it up, and one of the threads has gone here. So I thought, oh crikey, I'll have to take it with me and turn it into a little project. So that's carrying that around now. So yeah.
So how long have you played guitar?
Since I was 16, so it's quite a while.
What first got you into that?
Rebellion, probably. Yeah, it's a lost soul. Left home young age and didn't know what to do. Was working in a job, hated everything, and guitar was the one thing that I always came back to and loved. So it's become my life.
Do you mind if I ask, how old were you when you left home?
16.
16. What caused that?
Broken home.
I used to live in Brighton for about 6 years, and then I moved to Berlin. And now I'm spending some time here. I'm a musician myself. I'm doing some work in London, and at the moment I'm finishing my album, so getting inspired and walking around, taking photos with my camera.
What do you like to convey with your music?
You go deeper. When you do music, when you do something creative, you go deeper. It's nothing to do with religion or anything like that. It's just some kind of a discovery that happens when you go within yourself and you kind of try to do something that comes from within, you know. You sometimes just sit for days or hours and, you know, try to create something, and it doesn't come always so easily. But then when it does, you feel like you've just crossed, I don't know, like an ocean, and you discovered something. It's always about discovery for me, and sort of what can I find in myself that I find good. And yeah,
I'm just wandering around. I don't work on Fridays, so I'm just wandering around, and I'll go and visit my mum in hospital this afternoon because she broke her hip after Christmas. So I actually live down near Bristol, but I'm just staying here in the house I grew up in, just so I can visit my mum while she's kind of in care. Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask? So you say you don't work on Fridays. What's your job?
I work in the council, in the public health team, and I've been working for 27 hours a week since we first had children quite a long time ago, and I kind of figured that once they'd grown up I might go back to working full time, but actually when it came down to it, because house prices were so much cheaper then and we paid off our mortgage, I just thought, what's the point working full time? We don't actually need to. So I never bothered going back full time.
Yes, it does have an impact. It's I'd say for anyone at that age, it's mainly because I was already fairly unintegrated as a child. I wasn't in the same arena. Like in a classroom, for me, a classroom was a place where there was so much going on. There was all these children, and we're all supposed to be getting grades. We're all supposed to be able to do the same things, and I'm too busy looking at what the hell's trying to work out what's going on. And I was very suspicious at a very young age of the whole thing, and so never really fitted in. And so when my home broke in, fell apart when I was 16 and I left home, I was very, very ill-equipped to deal with anything anyway. So because I was so badly integrated, so I very much needed to find my own way.
Why do you feel like you didn't sort of fit in at such a young age?
Why? Because I couldn't. It wasn't a uniform thing, to all be sat in one direction. I remember looking at this clock on the wall, and we all had to know. Work together. We all listened to the teacher. They would say, like, that hand's there and that hand's there. That means that you. That means you put the two things together and you come up with the time, and the time means hello mate, and to me, in front of the whole class, it's like I couldn't take that information in. I couldn't work out what I could see what they were explaining. I could conceptually understand what was aimed at. I could sort of understand what was going on, but I couldn't take in that information as well and come up with a result. So when you, as an individual, expected to put this together and come up with a result, I couldn't do it. When I was 15, I was later diagnosed with dyslexia. My mum actually went out and paid £100 to get me diagnosed. which was a bit late in the day really. But dyslexia is a very narrow label for something which I think I was just very kinesthetic, very it's another label. I think it was the way I absorb things is I get a very holistic, I take a very here now, very and school just absolute crap for me, waste of time.
One event that brought me most happiness. It's hard to pick one, but I remember when I got my first guitar that I bought for myself, for my own money. I was a teenager and I managed to. I was busking and I earned enough money and I bought myself this guitar that I wanted. And it arrived from Northern Ireland and it came in the post, and I opened the box and there was the smell of wood, and it was something that I earned for myself, for the first time in my life. That was a very happy moment. I was really proud of myself.
Do you still have that guitar?
Yeah, I will never sell it.
Does it still make you happy when you play?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one piece of equipment that I will never let go of. I think I can let go of everything else. Actually, I just bought a new guitar that also now makes me really happy.
What makes you happy?
It's I don't know. Well, I mean, as my son says, when he was about this big, he said, "I know the meaning of life is family and friends." And he was only about kind of 7 when he said that. And it stuck in my head because I think, yeah, he's probably right. Yeah.
What is happiness to you?
I think it is having enough time, actually, which is why I don't work full time, because I think I'm probably at my happiest when there's just no pressure to do anything, when you're just like sitting there gazing into space, kind of going into some kind of weird sort of psychological state where you're just completely relaxed and you're just happy just to sit there and stare at people passing by and that's when I'm truly happy, is when I literally don't have any sense of anything I need to do or any sort of pressures. I think it's so important in life, and I just think it's so rare because most people are just, they've got so many pressures, there's so many things they need to do. I think we all just do too much. I just think more time just spent gazing into space would be really beneficial.
Can I just ask, in a more general sense, what makes you happy?
Peace, nature, calm, music.
How do you find
food?
How do
love,
you find
affection.
that peace in your life?
Be present, be here now. Let go of every story, let go of it all. Just don't hold on to. Step out, spend some time every day stepping out. That's the only place where really happiness exists. It's not. A story gives you happiness for a while. Yeah, I just got this, or I just achieved this, or I just made this, or or I just met this person, or I'm in love, or whatever. It gives you. That's a type of happiness. It's valid. You're allowed to enjoy life. But the only real happiness is when you touch base with the true present moment, the satisfaction of the real freedom, which is when the only thing that's real is right now. And if you can't touch base with that, if you've got to rely on stories, you're going to always be in torment.
Are you able in your life to sort of drop the personal narrative, drop the story? How do you do that? And have you always been like that?
Well, I mean, when I was through extreme circumstances, when I was in my early 20s, just turned 20 really, or maybe 22, somewhere around that time, 21, I had an experience where my mind went quiet for about 2 months after a long period of sleep deprivation. My mind completely shut up, and as a result, I experienced something which I didn't understand at the time. I didn't know what this peace was, and why everything just simplified, and everything in our culture was just funny. I was free for the first of my life, and just from getting rid of the noise in the head and following the noise in the head. I wanted to know what that was, so I started looking into various things, Buddhism and various stuff, and eventually I found Eckhart Tolle's books, Stillness Speaks. Someone gave me a copy. I read it very quickly and just went, there's someone who's really nailed it in words, what I experienced. And So, meditation and taking time out and dropping the story has become just something that I innately know how to do and need to do. I need to do it. I couldn't live my life if I didn't have that.
So do you think happiness then is to be found in achieving that feeling that you were just talking about?
Yeah.
That you found in that moment?
You can do it any minute, any second, any now. I can do it now, just drop out. It's here, it's there, it's right there. That is what all the religions have been banging on about for thousands of years. It's right there, it's so simple. It's so simple that it gets overlooked and forgotten, and it seems irrelevant.
When in your life have you felt most love?
With certain people. First with my mother, then with my first boyfriend, and then with my last boyfriend. That's the foundation. Without that, actually, I don't think you can be happy, regardless of whatever else you have. If you don't feel loved, and if you don't feel like you can give love, nothing, no money can fix that, no house or anything.
So that's the key to happiness then?
I think so, yeah. That's the foundation for a good life. We can't live without that. It's hard. So yeah, it's just pain, I think, without loving.
Can you just unpick for me sort of what do you think were the catalysts for that realization?
I think it's a lot of disillusionment. Put it this way: if your identity had no prospects, and everybody had told you since the age of 10 or whatever that you had no prospects, and that you were doing all the wrong things, and you weren't doing the right things, and you were basically being labelled as a dysfunctional human being because you're not fitting in. And they're doing everything they can to get you to fit in, but the more they try to get you to fit in, the tools they're using to get you to fit in don't work, so it just pushes you further and further out. If your identity, I think at the age of 9 or something, they were asking, they do the classic question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said I wanted to be a tramp, because I was looking around, I was going, what are the options? I don't want to be rushing around like an idiot all my life. Everybody seems so stressed. My father was very stressed, I didn't want to be stressed like that in my life. I didn't want to be angry and stressed in that way. So I think the adversity of, it's like the contrast. It's like when you're in the story, if the story is really uncomfortable, you get pushed out of it. I think if you've got a very functional, well held together story, and your parents are behind you, and you feel secure in yourself, and you've got confidence, it's not that uncomfortable to be in your identity.
What makes you unhappy?
Oh, I can't. Yeah, God, where do you start? Actually, I suppose it's because my dad left when I was 15, and I think when parental separation, I think that's got to be the unhappiest moment, because when it comes out of the blue, I mean, sometimes it's probably not an unhappy moment for some people if they feel like it's going to make their life better. But actually, if that happens to you and it's completely unexpected and comes out of the blue, I don't think much is more devastating than that, actually. It is quite traumatic when it's completely unexpected, yeah.
Do you still feel the sort of scars from that now?
I think so, actually. I don't think it ever goes away. Yeah, it's funny because, my dad's is a very interesting, complex person, and actually, when his other wife died, he came back and married my mum again, so they've been married twice. They're both very interesting people, so it's not like he sort of disappeared out of my life, but I still feel like, I could never have the same relationship with him again after that, yeah.
When in your life have you felt most proud?
I think, to be honest, it's tied in with children, because I think, as I say, I went part-time because we had children, and I kind of feel like it's difficult to say you've done a good job, but I'm just very proud with the way they've turned out. So I kind of feel like they are very balanced people, and and they're very happy. And so I couldn't, for me, I think the most proud I've been is the fact that they're content and they're happy, and that's made me really happy.
And as a parent, have you instilled? Do you think you've instilled in them your philosophy on sort of
not
life?
consciously, no, not consciously. But I think you probably can't avoid it, really. But I've not consciously done that. I think consciously, all I've done is just make it quite clear, that whole unconditional love thing, where you make it quite clear you don't have any expectations of them other than that they just do what makes them happy. And I've definitely, always made it quite clear that I'm not putting any pressure on them to achieve anything or do anything. It's just what makes them happy, and that's all that matters. Yeah.